Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Nuckley, or Professor Nuckley. I am your instructor for Gen Chem 1, but unfortunately I had to go to jury duty today, so Dr. Mullen was nice enough to step in and play this video for you and then go over the first part of Chapter 1. So I feel like it's best if I explain the syllabus rather than having someone else try to explain it, and so I'm going to kind of go through this through a video, which I really don't like doing, but this way at least you get all the information I would want to tell you in person. So we meet Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4:30 to 5:45 in this classroom. The first thing I want to kind of tell you is that Gen Chem 1 is the first part of a two-part series. Now, not all majors have to take Chem 1 and Chem 2. Some of you only have to take Chem 1. The biggest advice I can give you is that we also have an intro to chem, or introductory chemistry. If you feel very weak in your chemistry background, if you feel like you struggled in high school, or that you're just not sure that you really remember much chemistry at all, you should really think about switching into the intro chem class. That class really goes over maybe the first 3 or 4 chapters that we do in Chem 1, but spreads it over an entire semester and really kind of breaks those concepts down. Because in Chem 1, we go pretty quickly. And so if you're kind of on the borderline where you're not sure, come talk to me. We can talk about what your background is and how confident you feel in the material before you go ahead and go into this class and maybe struggle more than you should. The other idea I always like to throw out there is that by taking Intro Chem may be able to give you a more easy A, whereas you can kind of build from that, and that's going to make Gen Chem 1 a lot easier, and maybe you get a much easier A in Chem 1 as well. So just keep that in mind. So I've already told you who I am. My office is in the same building upstairs on the 3rd floor, room 3528. My phone number is listed on the syllabus as well as my email. Email is the best way to contact me. I usually try to get back to you within 24 hours. I do have office hours in my office on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 o'clock to 4:30. A little bit about myself is I'm a diehard Gamecock fan, okay? And I really love football. I love watching Gamecock football, which we had a pretty good year. Unfortunately, though, for Dr. Mullen over here, he's a Gator fan, and we won't talk about their football season as well. Alright, so I'm also on Twitter. You can follow me. I tweet about different biochemical concepts. I am at Biochem Reporter. So I also teach biochemistry here at UNF. So if you like my class now, hopefully you'll like Chem 2 if you can take it with me, and then as well as teach biochem. So like I said, Chem 2045 is a 2-part course. Hopefully it's going to provide you with an appreciation for chemistry in daily life, provide you with a foundation in chemistry, teach you everything that you need to know from atoms to substances to solutions, and as every course at UNF, I feel like, help develop problem-solving skills. The objectives are listed on your syllabus. They're listed here as well. So what do you need for this class? Well, you're going to need the textbooks, which is Chemistry, the Central Science. It's the 14th edition. Okay, you could use an older edition. There are not that many differences between them. However, whenever I refer to different pages that you should read or problems that you should do in the book, I will refer to the 14th edition. There's a couple options. One is you can just buy the hardback book from the bookstore, which is going to come along with the Mastering Chemistry Access Code, which you're going to need as well. You can also just buy the e-text, and if you buy the Mastering Chemistry Access Code directly through Pearson, you can get it along with the e-text as well. Okay, and that's a much cheaper price, and I'll talk about that in a second. Alternatively, if you're only taking Chem 1 and you don't need Chem 2, you can buy this paperback version, which is sold in the bookstore, along with the access code. It's basically half of the hardback book. So it's chapters 1 through 10, which we'll cover in Chem 1. Okay, Chem 2 goes from chapter 11 all the way to chapter 24, and in that case, you're going to need the whole hardback book. With that pricing, okay, the hardback book is pretty expensive, along with the access code. This paperback version's a little bit cheaper. The best deal that you can get is the e-text along with the Mastering Chemistry Access Code. And I'll tell you, if you can buy this book without financial aid, you can go directly through the Mastering Chemistry website, okay, or Pearson, and it's much cheaper. And I'll talk about it again in a minute, but it's about $116 for the e-text plus the access code, which is the best option. And Dr. Mullen will be able to answer any of those questions for you. You also need my custom edition class notes, which is sold only in the bookstore. Unfortunately, it's a little more expensive than I would like. When I compiled this paperback version, it was supposed to be less than $50, but the bookstore adds on quite a significant percentage, and I think it's around $80. I will tell you that most people love it. It has all my class notes. It has everything that you need in this class. You will bring that book to class every day. Okay. You also need some kind of non-graphic, non-programmable calculator, so you need the cheapest, basic calculator is all you need in this class. How will you be graded? Well, homework assignments count for 16%. You have question of the day, which is 5%. Nomenclature quiz, which is 3%. Exams, which are 53%. And then the final exam, which is 23%. So homework assignments. Like I said, you're going to do this through the Mastering Chemistry. So it's an online homework assignment. Okay? You're trying to obtain 160 points over the course of the semester, and this is equivalent to 16% of your grade. What I promise is I'll give you at least 200 total questions over the entire semester, and 160 of those will count towards your final grade. Okay? What that means is you have 40 questions that you can miss, get incorrect. You could just decide you're not doing an assignment. Okay? It's about 20 or 22 questions per chapter. As you see, we have different assignments. So we have chapters 1 through 9, and then lastly an exam review, which also includes chapter 10 problems. Okay, I open these early. Basically, after each exam, the next set will open, and the due dates are set. Okay, only thing that these due dates may change is I may give you extended time, but these are the minimum dates when those will be due. I don't accept late assignments, so you have to make sure you finish by the deadline. Okay, that's why you have 40 extra questions. So if you miss a problem or miss entire assignment, that's just going to count towards those 40 questions that you can miss. I do say that you should work in groups. Okay, you can work together. Each person should have slightly different questions. My goal is that this helps prepare you for the exam, because in chemistry, the more you practice, the better off you're going to be. Now, Mastering Chemistry is set up directly through Canvas, so when you log into Canvas, into my course, you're going to see a tab that says My Lab Mastering. Click on that. That's going to take you through, and you can register directly through Canvas, as well as get to all the homework assignments. So the student access code is what you're going to need to put into that My Lab Mastering tab in Canvas. If you buy the hardback version of the book from the bookstore, you should get that code, or if you buy the softback, it should come with the code as well. If you bought Mastering Chemistry within the last 24 months, it's probably still valid, so you'll still be able to log in that same way. Now, it must be purchased by January 20th. Okay, I say that because the first assignment, as you can see, is going to be due on January 28th, and so if you haven't purchased it by then, you need to come see me, because you're going to get behind in the class, and that will hurt you in the long run. Okay. So when you go into the Pearson website, like I said, you could buy the access code directly, okay, where you can use a credit card or PayPal. It's about $69 for the code itself, but if you buy it with the actual e-text, it's $116. Okay, this shows it for the 13th edition, but the 14th edition is basically the same price. So I think this is probably your best bet. It's the cheapest option. The only problem is you can't apply financial aid for that in order to purchase it. I think in the bookstore it's almost double that. So, alright, so I would say that if you can try to get registered for Mastering sooner the better, because a lot of times there's different problems with registering. There's very little that I can do for you because I can't see the technical side of Mastering. There may be some kind of glitch where you need to have a different login or some other access code error. So what I always say is make sure that you try to set this up before Tuesday, January 16th, because one of the Pearson reps is going to be in the bookstore, and they will have computers. They'll help you set everything up and make sure that it works correctly. So please make sure that you try to set that up before January 16th so that you can get any help that may be needed. Otherwise, you have to call tech support, which can take a long time. So question of the day. Question of the day is something that I do at the end of each class. It counts as 5% of your grade. It's somewhat like an attendance grade. Okay, so at the end of each class, the last 5 minutes or so, I give you a question of the day, and it's really based on the material that we covered that day. My goal is to find out if you understood the material, if the class in general understood it, or if there was a major problem, because that's going to help me identify what I can do on the next class to really clarify that before moving on. So at the end of class, I'll ask you to work in groups to solve this question of the day. I don't grade it for correctness. At the end, you'll just turn in a sheet of paper, some kind of scrap paper with your name on it, and the answer or your work for that question of the day. That's all I'm going to look for, that you attempted the problem. If it's wrong, I don't care. It just tells me if I need to go back over a specific concept. Okay. So I understand everybody misses class from time to time. Okay, that's fine. I just don't want you missing class all the time. And so what I say is that you have to turn this in 75% of the time. Okay, that means we have about 28 classes over the course of the semester. You can miss up to 7. Okay, after 7 classes, you're going to lose 1% from this 5% for each class you miss after that. Okay. All right, so please be respectful of classmates and myself. Okay, make sure your cell phones are on silent during class time. All right, so we're going to have a nomenclature quiz in this class on Monday, February 5th. It's in class. It's only going to take maybe the last 10 or 15 minutes of class. There are no makeups, no early quizzes, so make sure you're here that day. It counts as 3% of your grade. Okay, and the reason why is because nomenclature makes up a big part of Chem 1. And a lot of times we start with nomenclature in Chem 1 in Chapter 2. And a lot of times students don't start studying it until much later. Okay, and it actually hurts them a lot. Okay, you have to know your nomenclature. So we'll have a nomenclature quiz on Monday, February 5th in class. We have 3 midterm exams. They're all listed in the syllabus. They're not going to change unless school is completely canceled or closed that day. Each of these midterms are weighed equally for a total of about 53%. There are no makeup exams, so if you miss an exam, you'll see in my policy in the syllabus where it needs to be an excused absence, excused by me prior to the exam. Final exam is cumulative, covers all 10 chapters, makes up 23% of your grade, and it's on Wednesday, April 25th. So what do the points mean? Well, here's my points breakdown. I stick pretty strictly to this actual breakdown for the overall grades in the class, and so this kind of gives you an idea of where you stand. You'll also notice in Canvas, under the general documents, under modules, that there's a grade calculator. You can always plug in your grades and kind of see where you're falling on this chart. If you participate in any university activities, make sure you turn in your form to me prior to January 17th so we can make sure that no exams or quizzes are missed. How do you succeed in this class? The biggest thing I can tell you is practice, practice, practice. So my class is designed that we actually I go over a little bit of background, then we work through practice problems in class. Going over practice problems in class sometimes gives you a false confidence that I understand everything. You need to go home and practice. Okay, you need to read the textbook. I would say that you should spend about 3 hours studying per lecture hour. Okay, if you're still struggling, there's a couple options. One is you can go to ACE, which is the Academic Center for Excellence. They have different tutoring services available, which can help you as well. You're also welcome to stop by during my office hours, and I can help clarify some different misconceptions you may have or some kind of problems that you may be encountering. How do you study for this class? Well, I always say don't be intimidated. Work on learning the material. Okay, it's like learning a foreign language. You have to continue to practice. You can't memorize your way through this class, I promise you. Don't fall behind. The more you wait to start mastering, the more you wait to look over this material, you're really just getting farther and farther behind. You need to register with DRC. Make sure you do that. I don't tolerate cheating in this class. I'll go ahead and tell you that if you cheat on my exams, it's an unforgivable F. Okay, it means that you get an F in this class. It can't be replaced at a later date, so it's not worth it. Just a couple other things that I want to tell you about. One is in my class, I understand that sometimes you may hear me explain material in class. You may go home and forget exactly what to do. Okay, so I post a number of YouTube videos, how-to type videos, additional practice problem videos on Canvas, and I'll do that throughout the class, and I'll let you know when I do those as well. Okay, that way you can go home and review some of that material. I'll also give you review sheets for the exams. Those are in that class notes packet, as well as I'll post those on Canvas. And then lastly, I ask you to arrive on time. Okay, if you arrive late, please come in the back door. If you need to leave early, go out the back door. It's really distracting when you walk across the front of the room. Make sure your cell phones are on silent. Please don't wear headphones in my class. I find it rude that you don't want to listen to me. Okay, so no headphones. Talking in class, talking during lecture time is very difficult because it's hard for me to hear over you. So I ask that you try to keep that to a minimum and only really talk during the practice problem time where I'll ask you to work together. Lastly, laptops and tablets are okay. And thanks again. I'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good day.